and thank you for your company all through the morning ride here on Memories 96.5 FM. It's time to get serious and have some important discussions. Welcome to the first edition of the melting point for the week right here on Memories 96.5 FM. I am NYAKNNO, Albert.
Good morning to you, and it's a pleasure to have you with us on Melting Point Monday edition. And Yaki, I don't know if you had or you have any ex-service living around you. Any ex-service, you find them now trying to iron their old clothes, old khakis for the Armed Forces Remembrance Day March past.
Well, I do not have any
and they're quite excited about that. They're quite excited.
I'm trying to cast my mind back to see if I have any in my family. Well, I have extended relatives, who are ex-servicemen, but of course, happy Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day, because the name has been changed to Armed Forces Celebration
That's
and
right. I like
Remembrance Day
that.
by the federal government. That was done last week, heralding the, of course, festivities. So welcome to Melting Point once again. Well, this time, River State is once again at the center of a major political storm. The State House of Assembly has restarted impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, barely months after a similar case or similar crisis was diffused by presidential intervention. This latest move has stalled the 2026 budget in the state, triggered legal questions, and reignited debate about power, constitutional order, and political influence in the state. So today, we examine the facts, the law, and the possible consequences for governance, democracy, and stability in River State. Joining us in the studio this morning to discuss this development, first I'd like to introduce a public affairs analyst and senior lecturer in the Department of Public Administration at the Akwa Ibom State University, Dr. Basi. Doc, good morning, Doc. It's nice to see you.
Good morning, today. Good morning, Oselo,
Welcome.
and Twicom. Good morning, listener.
You're welcome. You're looking pretty official today.
Yes.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday morning, and the ethics of code of dressing is say that you should look formal.
Okay.
At least on Monday morning.
Well, also,
aside from broadcasters.
we almost didn't get the memo. I also on properly Turcom will be wondering if we should go back home and come back in the next hour.
I think we should depend on your work as an AOP, because your work is not typically a 9 to 5 job.
Well,
sometimes you are here by 4 a.m. Sometimes you're here by 11 in the night. So
well,
you can't wear tie and suit up to that time.
And Jackie, you know why I also do this because we just resumed and we've not entered. We've entered, but not really at a large scale classes yet.
Okay.
So because if you enter classes, you don't have to appear like this.
all right then. Well, let me also
because of the condition of the classes.
Doc, that's conversation for another day. But we're hearing that the conditions of the universities are about to improve.
Working environment. I'm talking about the environment, not
not the working conditions.
Okay. Well, let me also introduce
the working
another
environment.
public affairs analyst and social commentator, Turcom. Enquiry, good morning officially. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Yaki, Oselo, and the whole Akwa Ibom people. Want to thank you for a new opportunity to sit down and listen to us, because if you don't love us, you will not be listening to us.
That's right.
And I know the whole Akwa Ibom that are tuned into this program right at this moment.
Well, remember, you can be part of the discussion via the phone lines on 0803 085 7755 and 0829 066 69, or now the second number serves as our WhatsApp number. So if you drop a comment there, we'll read it here this morning. Let's start right away. Despite early interventions by President Bola Tinubu, impeachment has now been attempted 3 times in 2 years in River State against Governor Siminalayi Fubara since he took office in 2023, and that has raised concerns about how the process may be losing its seriousness as a constitutional safeguard. Otwaka, why is Rivers State facing another impeachment crisis so soon, and what does it mean for democracy when impeachment proceedings become this frequent?
Yeah, first and foremost, you look at Rivers State, you can best define Rivers State as more of an atomistic society. Even though they used to call us that some years back, but that is the first thing. Number two, there's only one factor which is a problem in Rivers State, a Jonah in a boat that is causing all the challenges. And the third factor is that Mr. President is allowing former Minister Wike to do whatever he wants to do in Rivers State, giving him the leeway and the room. I have heard people say that the president saved Fubara. I think the problem was allowed to continue by Mr. President, and indirectly he was the one causing that problem, because if he wanted to, he would have stopped his minister from being a problem in the state. But instead of that, he allowed that problem to continue existing. So these three major problems, because of the politics, or maybe the present politics of the state or the country, and in few months' time, we are looking at the presidential election of 2027, which Mr. President is standing for a re-election. And by the fact that, like most of us keep on saying and people keep on arguing, that actually the result of the Rivers State House, presidential election result was not the right one, because you keep on seeing the discrepancy has not been fully declared up to this very moment. And because of that factor and what may happen, and you look at other factors like the opposition that is gathering steam, that is primarily the reason why these things continue to be the way it is. It is allowed by Mr. President and is using a particular individual to cause this confusion, and you have a political naivete in the person of Governor Fubara, who does not know his left or his right in politics, to be very candid. And that is why you can see these things turning around and causing so much problem within the state. If it was different, if Fubara was like the former governor of Edo State, I doubt this thing would have happened. Yes.
Well, impeachment is meant to be used, according to what we hear, only in cases of proved gross misconduct and not just political disagreement. Well, the Assembly has debunked insinuations that it's about political disagreement. That's about gross misconduct, but gross misconduct, I'm sure, is supposed to be palpable, supposed to be visible, supposed to be clear. You're not trying to explain the gross misconduct to us. Doc, what do you think the Constitution actually says about impeaching a sitting governor, and what will qualify as an impeachable offense?
Just like you said, gross misconduct. And gross misconduct constitute things like misappropriation of funds. What else? In fact, majorly, it's built around misappropriation of funds, whereby you use the funds of the people, with the parliament, legislature, or you use the funds without a budget. Are you getting me? If you use the public funds without budgeting, that constitutes gross misconduct. Now, if you use funds, there's a budget, and you are using the funds, and the budget has not been approved by the House of Assembly. That's the aspect of consulting that I was talking about, the Parliament. Then that also constitutes gross misconduct, and there are impeachable offences that you can. But Fubara has not done either of those two yet. The House of Assembly is calling for impeachment of the governor on the grounds that I think I've read somewhere, and they're looking, just like you've said, trying to explain, because gross misconducts are supposed to be outstanding, very clear, and distinct, without any. In fact, they're supposed to be self-explanatory. You don't need to explain and describe and convince people that this is so. So Fubara, I've not seen where Fubara has gone wrong. That warrants this call for impeachment again, and this is the third time in 2 years, thereabout. There's something that people used to say, I will interpret it, but let me say the way it is in our own language. Ebion is an and they say Ebion fusu da agagi da what it means is that Ebion is a small animal, that always like to stand under a certain tree. The fruit will fall and hit Ebion, and Ebion refused to leave. It fall again, hit, and people are asking, who does that fruit fall on? They say Ebion, this small animal. And they now ask the animal, can't you leave that place? So the implication is this: why is it always River State? Ever since we started this era of democracy in Nigeria, impeachment today, political instability tomorrow, suspension of governor, and that emergency rule. Every time, who is it? They say River State. Who is it? River State. Why is it that River State cannot find a lasting political solution to their problems? If they cannot, who do they expect to come and solve their problems for them? The president intervened the other time late last year, and gave emergency rule, and people started talking, even though that was quite unconstitutional, in a democratic setting like this. People criticize. Okay, now they have been restored. Democracy has been restored in River State. Why is it that the River State people cannot settle down and solve their problem? Do they expect the president to jump in again and give them another emergency rule, and so, or do they expect me to come and solve their problems for them? It is quite uncalled for. It's no longer interesting, to talk about it. It's just that we are. I'm here talking about River State issues because I'm a teacher. I teach people. No matter whether your student passes the exam or not, you have to continue to teach, because there will always be students, just like hospital. You cannot resign as a medical doctor and say, every day I meet sick people, you will continue to meet sick people, and the essence of you being there is to meet sick people, treat them. Those who are fortunate to be well by the providence of the divine providence, they'll be well. Those who are not so fortunate, go wherever they want. So that is why we are here as analysts, to talk about these River State political issues every now and then. We're not tired, because we want the young people to know, not the old people, because the old people have already known this thing. They've taken their position. They said this is where we'll die. And so we're not bothering them. We're thinking about the young people. Let the young people know what ought to be from what is. That's why we always come and talk about these issues.
All right, Otuekong, let me come to you. Well, some say allowing the impeachment moves against Fubara, to be concluded. It will set a dangerous precedent in which a non-member of the party and political outsider effectively determines who controls the APC in a key state. Now, if Mwike is allowed to have his way, some say it will deepen internal fractures and also weaken the moral authority and electoral credibility of the party ahead of the 2027 elections. What's your take on that?
Yeah, you see, you need to understand that the impeachment process itself is a very difficult and challenging process. It is very easier for a president to declare a state of emergency than for a governor to be impeached. because after this thing has been sent from the House of Assembly, it has to go to I think the Chief Justice, the Chief Judge of the state, and the Chief Judge will have to set up a panel. I think they say whether a 7-man panel or what, and from the day, that's where the conclusion will come, and the impeachment will actually, that the commission now, the committee set up must have to declare that the governor is guilty or not guilty. If he says guilty, then it will be easier now to say he must be impeached. So the challenges we have is more on the political level. You understand me? Where does Mr. President stand? Where is his interest? Does he have an interest in seeing peace in Rivers State? If he has an interest in having peace in Rivers State, I can tell you that this matter will disappear overnight. But if Mr. President is still looking at a long game, because one thing we need to understand is that 1 week, even 24 hours in politics is a very long time. He has to, because right now Mr. President cannot throw out every one of them. You can't throw out the babies. Now there are 2 babies there. You understand me? With the bath water. He cannot even throw out one. The way I see it, a lot of, like yesterday somebody was telling me no, that the governor, the president will have to do away with and that it is wicked now more, they are leaning more on the side of the governor than on the side of wicked. But I seem to look at it, because when I saw the grand assembly of opposition during a birthday of Tambowal, and I knew that Mr. President would not be able to do away with any of the parties. You understand me? That he will not do away with Wike, because he will still need Wike as a radical factor, not just in Rivers State, but possibly in other places, and he needs Wike to remain as a powerful person. You understand me? So he will need to hold on to the 2 of them. So most of these things that we are seeing continually as we move on towards 2027, you're bound to see more challenges in that state that is more on the political ground than more on what do you call it, or maybe constitutional or so. In Nigeria today, we don't care. The politicians don't care what is constitutional, what is democratic. They don't give a damn. All they're more interested in is what is going to happen in the next political re-election or cycle. Where is my interest lie? How am I going to be more powerful, or even as powerful as I am? Am I going to lose ground to my opponent? These are the determining factors. It's not all these things we are thinking about. They are not interested in holding on the principles of democracy. They are using democracy as a convenient, a special purpose vehicle to get themselves into political office. That is how important a democracy is. That's why you notice that the moment they step into that office, they throw away all the things they claim they were talking about, and they rule the way they want to. So that is more important than any other thing that we can think about. So politics is going to determine the interest of Mr. President, because he is the one holding on to this. A lot of people say Wike. Let me tell you, Wike can, if Mr. President is serious to stop all this matter, Wike can be flying to Rivers State on air, and you have the announcement that he has been removed as a minister. As he lands, EFCC is waiting for him there. That ends his politics.
No, Otueko, of course, the last election, Wike delivered Rivers State he was then in PDP.
Yes,
he made sure he delivered the state to APC.
Yes.
And sure, one good turn deserves another. The presidency needs him, and be that as it may.
Yes.
And others say that Fubara may not be able to deliver Rivers to the to Tinubu come the next elections. Because of no platform, no platform, and supporters too.
What gave Wike the power to deliver Rivers State? It is his position as the governor of Rivers State. He was using his influence as a governor and the money of Rivers people. You understand me? So this man is sitting on the same position that Wike stood and delivered the state to Mr. President. He can use the same thing. Remember what happened during the local government election? Not the one, the council, and they remade in the interest of Wike. Remember the first one? It was Wike could not deliver this thing. It was Fubara that delivered it to even an opposition party, and everybody accepted it. It was simply Mr. President that stepped in, and they had to dissolve that body and then allowed Wike to take over the local government. So the same power that Wike had to deliver Rivers State is the same power of incumbency, is the same power that Fubara is sitting on now. And Fubara can deliver Rivers State the same way to Wike. There's no big deal. So if Mr. President wants to sort out this problem, he has to determine who he needs to lean on. But there's more he may feel he needs other places and like that. And that is why he's still keeping him on. You understand me? He doesn't truly, if he wants to sort out the problem will disappear every day. I keep on saying, the problem here in Rivers State is primarily Mr. President. It's not Wicked, it's not Fubara.
Well, the Assembly has barred Governor Fubara from presenting the 2026 budget, raised concerns about governance, salaries, and development projects. How serious do you think these allegations of spending public funds without legislative approval are?
You know, one thing we need to understand, if you can remember, when there was a state of emergency, it was the National Assembly who had the right and the power to make budget, and they did the budget. That budget, I think, is going to expire by when? August. Yes. You understand me? So I don't know where the Assembly think they have the power. Now that's why the governor is telling him they are just sitting down there by his district. That budget has not expired. What they need to do now, if they feel the governor is wrong, let them write to the National Assembly and tell the National Assembly, we want to make sure that we do away with the budget you approve so that we can make our own budget for the year. That's not what they are talking. They are not talking about that. That budget is still running. And this governor came in to see that budget running, and he decided to sit on it. If they want to, they should tell the governor, please write to the National Assembly that we want to present our own budget. You understand me? And it is now at the behest of the governor to decide to accept or not to accept. And you can send it to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly say, no, we cannot run out that budget by the end of August. You do your own budget. That is where they should sit on. So this thing is not actually because of the budget. They are just trying to give a dog a bad name so that they can hang it, looking for every reason. I was looking at some frivolous reason. They were saying the governor did this or that. I understand maybe they felt insulted by the 100,000 the governor gave them for a Christmas bonus or something like that. You understand me? So that is where the thing is. August is still coming. Wait for August. If the governor does not present, it may be a supplementary budget. You can say, okay, Mr. Governor, we are going to deal with you. You understand me? So, but now that every single person in APC is against what they are doing, I don't know exactly where they are going to get that this thing. But you have to understand that who is going to benefit from this thing? Mr. Speaker, he wants to remove, what has the deputy governor done? She has not committed any crime, and you add that. So when all of them are removed, who is going to benefit from that position? Is it not the speaker? So they know what they are doing.
All right, listener, if you're just joining us, this is Melting Point Monday on Memories 965 FM. We're looking at the 1 week more troubles in Rivers State. And Otoekong, I'm still with you. Well, of course, you know, right now, there's a difference between between politics and governance.
Yes.
Now, in politics, one person, Wike, seems to have the political power in Rivers, while Fubara is on governance. And now, Fubara is 001 in Rivers APC.
Yes.
And Wike is ready with that position 001. Which means even if Wike decides to join APC, it will be 002 behind Fubara. All right. If that happens eventually, now who do you think the president will listen to when it comes to elections? Because Wike is not in APC, and Fubara is expected to deliver the results of Rivers State in APC.
You know what APC position is? You have heard virtually everyone in APC having the same statement. The vice president was in Enugu, and he said, even in my state, as a vice president, the leader of APC in my state is the governor, Professor Zulum. He mentioned Akwa Ibom State and said the Senate president is number 3 man in this country. That in Akwa Ibom State, the leader of APC is the governor, Moino. You understand me? That they cannot create an exception for Rivers State. That it has to be the governor who is the leader of the party. You understand me? So Wike now is not even a member of APC. He cannot cross over to APC and determine what is happening in APC. So the good thing is that, like Fubara said, who supported me when there was a problem? PDP didn't do it. Now, good that all APC big wigs are rallying around. The national chairman is behind the governor. We have not heard from the president yet, who is going to make the ultimate decision. All governors of APC, I think there are about, is it 30 of them or so?
About 28.
28 of them, yes. They are all behind Fubara. So virtually everyone in APC, they are rallying around the governor because they don't want to set a precedent where they destroy the structure of their party. And APC seems to be more disciplined than PDP. You understand me? So I don't see how this gentleman now that, because I know they didn't want Fubara to cross over to APC. You understand me? They didn't want to, and the thing came as a shock. That's why you see Wike has gone around all the local government to do major rallies and call people simply because he wants to diminish the influence and prove to Mr. President that this is this and that Fubara cannot deliver, which he has been saying. Fubara cannot deliver Rivers State to you come 2027. And true, there are cards in the hands of Wike that he can use. But you know, the simple way to take away that card is this: remove him as minister. And like they normally do, you know, look at what is happening to Malami. Malami wants to contest for KB governorship, and that's why his problem started.
You think the president will remove Wike as minister?
No, but if he wants to sort out the problem of Rivers State, you want to back the governor, simply remove him. And as he's flying to Port Harcourt now, you see those boys in dark suits are waiting for him and say, you ate 3, 4, 5 money, come and explain. And that's the end of the story. You know, but let's see what Mr. President is going to do.
Yes, you see, Fubara is anticipating the presidential, support.
Yeah, you know, he flew to Paris to see his president.
Yes, because they said the governor is not sincere with the agreements he reached from the first one signed involving Peter Odili, assembly members and leaders of the states before Mr. President, to the second agreement signed by the governor, the assemblymen and leaders of the state and submitted to the president. That even the president in the process.
Let them make this agreement public so that all of us will see and know exactly what this agreement is. You understand me? They have not said it, but that statement is from those who are supporting Wike. If you listen to those supporting Fubara, they will say a different thing entirely. But I do think Mr. President is a political father, and the Vice President is a political father, and all of them are governors in their state, and they are not pressing the governors to make to do exactly what they want. I think Wike needs to be examined by certain psychiatrists, because I think there's a political problem, a mental political problem.
All right, then. Doc, let's get back to you now. Let us talk on how the rest. Rivers State High Court had earlier barred the Speaker and the 26 lawmakers from initiating impeachment proceedings. Now, what is the legal implication of the existing court order restraining them, and does this new impeachment move, the third in 2 years, violate that order?
Actually, it's a violation to that order, the court. But before I come to that, let me remind you that you remember that last year when there was this tussle, to the point that the governor had to remove the roof of the House of Assembly. He had to disperse them because he was looking for what should I do, immediately to be able to, contend with this situation, and that pushed them out of the Assembly complex. So if you sit elsewhere and say we want to conduct impeachment of the governor, it will not stand because it's not in the Assembly complex. That was number one. And this matter went to court, and the court actually determined that Governor Fubara, democracy cannot exist in Rivers State because Rivers State was standing with two legs. If you recall, two legs means the executive and the judiciary. Okay. That the legislature have been punctured somehow. This was the third leg, and so they passed a law that because of that, democracy cannot, be said to stand in the Rivers State. Now, that now gave the Mr. President the grounds to jump in and brought in emergency rule. Now bringing in emergency rule, the administrator was still carrying out the executive functions. Am I correct? Yes, I'm correct. Executive functions. And judiciary was also there. Did they dissolve judiciary? No, they did not. Because judiciary was... So, Rivers State, that the judiciary accused of standing in 2 legs and not 3 legs, was still functioning. With judiciary, also carrying out their responsibility. So sometimes, okay, and now Rivers State administrator now depended on the National Assembly, as they, had to lean on the National Assembly to form the 3rd leg, kind of. Now, if you are saying that the Rivers State had 3rd leg, then was the executive the real democratic executive? So there were issues and issues that, as political scientists, if we want to dig deep into it, we saw that it was that there was a total maze in Rivers State. Now the legislature is going back to what they had lost before, because they were unable to carry out the impeachment in the first place, and the second time, now the 3rd time. I'm wondering what they are going to do that will be different from what they had done before. And the court, like you've said, had already gave an order that they should suspend the impeachment moves, whereas the House of Assembly still insists that they want to impeach their governor. I don't know what they're intending to achieve in this 3rd time, 2nd time, 1st time, 2nd time, and 3rd time of this impeachment move. But it looks to me that just like my colleague has said, that Minister, former governor of Rivers State, Wike, seems to be everything is clear that he is the one masterminding the House of Assembly, 26 members of the House of Assembly, and telling them, so meaning that they are running a script. There's a writer of a script somewhere and giving to them to interpret. I mean to legislate on, instead of them to sit down and be legislating on the laws that can affect the Rivers State positively, especially now that the governor has moved into APC. They should legislate on the good the things that will be favorable for Rivers State, rather than continuing these issues of impeachment and so on. And of course, if you check, 2 years is already gone. We're entering the 3rd year, which is already the electioneering year. Parties are given time. I mean, INEC has already published their timetable, and the parties are supposed to begin congresses very soon, from the ward level down to the national level. And so this, to me, is totally a distraction.
Well, the governor recently has sounded confident. The speaker has raised an alarm about a plot to scuttle the impeachment process. And now the president has intervened multiple times, including declaring an emergency rule last year. And some people fear this weakens state autonomy, while others see it as necessary to maintain order. How does this repeated involvement by the president affect the federal system of government?
The president is not supposed to be intervening in state affairs all the time. Why? Because Nigeria is
they've had countless meetings with him.
Yes, Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and the sub-nationals, which are the states, also maintain some level of autonomy and sovereignty. Therefore, the state governor is not supposed to, every time you just jump into except it will be interpreted that you have a special interest, either a special interest in the people's votes, or a special interest in the resources that goes to that state, whereby you want something from there, and so on. So the president is not supposed to be interfering every now. Why do they have legislature? Why do they have executive? Why do they have the judiciary? All these three arms of government are there to administer the states accordingly, according to the constitution. Why do they have the constitution? So the federal government, the president cannot leave his constitutional rules and responsibilities and functions to be, intervening and intercepting in the affairs of River State every now and then. That's, to me, it must be that there has to be a certain interest that the president is trying to protect.
All right. Otueko, as reactions now continue to trail River State political saga, and of course River State actually for now is being caught up in a web of competing interests, legislative authority, executive survival, ethnic mobilization, political party discipline, and federal influence. Now let's go to the issues they say is at stake, and that of course is extra budgetary spendings and abuse of office as well. Now, according to reports, River State according to reports, River State, the governor has actually, relied on the APC to, protect him, because he knows full well that Wike is an outsider and perhaps maybe shouting too much because of his access to the corridors of power in Abuja, and he is here. Why then are the people not talking? There are senators from River State. They are not talking now, and they're also a member of the House of Assembly that belongs to the local government of Fubara is not talking as well. Why the sudden silence from the legislative arm, especially at the national level?
One thing with politicians are very selfish set of people. They are only interested in their personal favors, what will come to them. A lot of them are angling for what is going to happen in 2027. You're even talking about those who are elected. What of the elders? We have two former governors. Odilis, an old man now, so you can excuse him that he may not have time to speak as much as. But you have somebody like Amechi who is angling to take a presidential ticket for the opposition, and he is not his Wike's boss. He was the one that brought Wike into politics, and we have not heard anything from this kind of persons. You see, so this is a challenge because most of them are only interested in what is going to come for them come 2027. They are not interested in the peace of River State. They are not interested in the development of River State. They are not interested in when I said peace and development of River State, they are not interested in whatever is good for the people. They are not interested. They are more interested in what comes for them. Another thing you need to understand is that River State is more of a multi-ethnic society, unlike what you see in Akwa Ibom today, where you have one people. We are basically one people. It's only dialectical differences, the way you pronounce come, and the other one pronounce it a different thing. We are not a different people, so it is easy for us to see common ground. Unlike them, you have different ethnic groups that speak different, they have different origin. So sometimes you notice that there is this alignment. Some it is ethnic alignment, like you see Wike has been in Obiakpo. I think that's the last leg of the talk, and you may discover that the people of Obiakpo, even if they see that Wike is wrong, the ethnic nature of Nigerian politics, they may see that line. He has been the former local government chairman of Obiakpo at one time, and that is the local government is from, and he has a lot of support in that place. So even if they see that our brother is doing what is wrong, they still whether he's good or bad, let us support him. I see it happening around. You see the point. So these are just the challenges we are going to see. Those men, ethnically, there's an alignment. A political interest, the alignment. There are groups around that are aligning with each other to see how we can benefit from something. But unfortunately, what most of them don't know, if you cannot take a stand easy and early enough, you may end up being pushed out from the center and nothing may come to you. You see, look at men who have become president in this country. I always keep on telling people, Buhari has never lied about his intentions from day one. It is people who give excuses. No, he didn't mean that. This is what he meant. President Tinubu has never lied, said no. What he wants is what he tells you. You understand me? People who give excuses about him. So the politician who stands his ground and said, this is where I want to go and this is what I want to do, is the one who is going to survive at the end of the day. Like you said, the man from his own local government, he's saying nothing. You don't know where and what they have told him. You see this thing, maybe you didn't actually win. If you do this, you're not going to have second term ticket, even though they have all moved to APC. I don't know, because I think there are some opposition still in that place. So I think, is it 4 of them or so? I don't know. You see, so but that is the situation you are. If you want to depend on politicians to make changes happen, I think we are all going to be disappointed, and that's what you're saying in Rivers.
All right then, it's time to let the listener in on the discussion this morning. It's just exactly 15 minutes before it's 11. You're listening to the Melting Point and Memories 96.5 FM. It's time to open the phone lines for you to join the discussion on 0803 085 7755. 0829 066 6909. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning for everyone.
Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Your location. Welcome, Joseph.
Yeah, in this interview, I think Ashibara has conducted himself very, very well. And the way it appears, things are going with. One thing he can do, which I like to advise him, and I can give him success, is that somebody listens. Now that all of them are in the same boat, APC, governor APC, members of the other APC, we don't know where every carry the most. If they insist on impeaching him, let him get to the ward level of this house, members of the House of Assembly, and get them to suspend all the members if they go against the party directive that Kubara should not be impeached. It can do that within 3 days. Once all those members of the House are suspended from their constituency, they will lose their political power to do anything. And then you can take it up with the court. Get the court starting on it.
Yeah,
That's a serious one. That's a serious one.
It's a very simple matter.
Thank you for
Yes, right.
calling.
that's a smart one.
There
That's a
have
serious
been
one.
calls
Very
by,
radical.
Yeah.
or what should I say, propositions by a group to
Yes.
recall the lawmakers
Okay.
if they do not stand down on their impeachment proceedings against the governor. Keep your calls coming on 0803 085 7755. 0829 066 6909 on WhatsApp. John says, good morning to you all. The drama occurring in River State has exposed the nakedness of our so-called democracy on paper. The people are caged in choosing who they want, allowing godfathers to operate monarchy system of government on a democratic system. It's high time INEC is scrapped, since the godfathers have who they want and can impose it on the people, control the governor from performing his duties on the people, and ensure monarchy system is practically done for their selfish interests. That's coming from John from Oyo. 0803 085 7755 0829 066 6909. Those are the phone numbers to call in. The second number serves as our WhatsApp number. Doc, let me come back to you now. I mean, although this impeachment has been framed as impeachment generally has been framed as a constitutional oversight, many groups believe the impeachment is driven by political rivalry, especially between Governor Fubara and his predecessor Wike, and some have even gone ahead to warn that prolonged political tension could affect public order, investment, and ethnic relations. To what extent do you think this crisis is about politics rather than governance, and what risk does this instability pose to peace and security in River State?
In summary, the issue here in River State is just about destruction and governance. The problem does not allow the governor to think straight. To think of developmental issues, to think of how to impact on the people positively. All the governors, I'm just imagining how all his thinking is about how to, give it back, how to fight back, how to quell problems, how to, handle issues that are coming up that from all flanks against him. And this reminds me of some years back during the Obama's governorship in Akwa Ibom State. If you recall, what used to be called Abuja Front and Home Front and Abuja Front. Abuja Front was very hot, and most of the Akwa Ibom people now turn and join the Abuja Front, thinking they were going to, bring down the Obama's administration. But as God would like it, Obama was in the state, was able to fight back and overcome. So I will ask Fubara to learn a lesson from that. In fact, should consult about that and hear from you and know how he was able to overcome, because that's exactly Abuja Front and River State, in my own words. So it's a total causing total distractions. Politics is causing total distractions to governance, and governance is supposed to be an instrument and a mechanism for development, for peace, for order in the state or anywhere. You will see that very soon. For instance, now groups are jumping up, pleading that there should be peace and harmony. And if this continues, you see that there's going to be chaos, because the youths are going to be fed up. They are going to be tired. They are going to, what kind of thing is this? And they'll ask questions, and sometimes they'll begin to protest and say, why are you people distracting states and not allowing free flow of democratic dividends to go down to the grassroots that is supposed to be? So if this continue, it's going to negate the purpose, the primary purpose of governance, which is supposed to run on the wheels of development, peace and order and stability and so on. So let's them play down on this political thing. I don't know why human beings seems to be so carried away by political power that they should always be on top. I've never seen any person who has always been on top for life. That's on one aspect. Number two aspect is the Fubara that has gone over to APC. If I must quote the former governor of Edo State, now the Senator, His Excellency Adam Oshomole, who said when you cross over to, if you are sinner, once you cross over to APC, all your sins are forgiven. Now that wicked sins must have been forgiven by APC, Fubara, in River State. Why are the APC is supporting him? Why is the president not also seeing that his sins have been forgiven, and then give him a soft landing and help him to focus? Or is it that the president is different from the APC?
Talking about a soft landing, this is how we're landing this morning.
Okay.
The possible outcomes if this impeachment process continues and even succeed. Your parting short.
Yeah, I think if it succeeds, you're going to see, which was the original plan, not to allow Fubara to go for a second term, and to allow Amaole, the current speaker, to become, because they are joining the two people together, both the governor and the deputy governor, and to assume the office as the governor of the state, and that will bring peace to Wike, because Wike is a radical factor here. He's the joiner in the boat. So if he succeeds in doing that, I think that is where he will have peace, and the other time, but the best thing is for him to be stepped down, because the moment he stepped down, all the power he has is gone.
Doc, what do you think would be the possible outcome if this process continues and even gets to a logical conclusion, maybe success?
the president may come back and also declare
A state of emergency.
state of emergency. Because you cannot, the way I look at this Mr. President, you may not be able to predict it. He may come back because he will insist that he must win Rivers State.
Well, clearly, what is happening in River State goes beyond one governor or one House of Assembly. It raises deeper questions about constitutional order, political power, and the stability of Nigeria's democracy. So, whether this impeachment proceeds or collapses, the consequences for governance, the economy, and public trust will be felt far beyond River State. We'll continue to follow the development closely.